Hey guys, I have a kind of fun video today. I have been recently into manga and anime, as we can tell. That's my most recent phase. So I just kind of wanted to talk about and kind of show what all I have so far, and also I really want to know if any of you are like big manga readers or anime watchers or anything, recommendations, because it is so hard to find clean manga and anime. And yeah, basically I just kind of wanted to show what I have so far and what I've thought of what I have so far, because I have read all but I think a few of my One Piece, but I'll get into that later. And yeah, basically I'm just gonna kind of talk about my little bit of a collection, and I'll show you my figures for a sec too, I suppose, because why not? But yeah, so basically I'm just going to get started. I don't know, this is gonna be fun to edit, we'll see. To start off, we're going to start strong with a very popular series. This is Fruits Basket. This is the collector's edition. My mom got me this volume, and I've read this entire thing. I really enjoyed it. It's like basically about kids that are possessed by the Chinese zodiacs, and if they get embraced by the other gender, then they turn into that animal. So like the one is a cat, and if the girl hugs him, he turns into a literal cat. It's interesting for sure. I was kind of confused at first, to be totally honest, because I didn't really understand what was happening. But when they actually got to fully explaining what was going on, I understood it a lot more. And I will say, I have zero background of Chinese zodiacs whatsoever. I understand this relatively. I will say I will probably be confused when I go into the second one and need to reread part of this because it's now been a little while. But yeah, this is really good so far, and I definitely really liked it. I don't know what I gave it. I'm not going to be able to do my star ratings because I'm using my phone to record right now because my camera needs a better microphone, so, you know. But anyways, I actually really liked this one. I think it was really good, and I do intend to read the rest of the series for sure. I absolutely loved this. I will say, I don't think I have a single series on my shelf that I don't intend to finish. Alright, and then next we have How I Met My Soulmate, which this one, I've only read the first one. It really caught my eye from the spine. This one stood out to me so much. I don't really know why. Maybe it's just the specific section it was in, but it really stood out to me, which is funny because when I picked it up to read the back, it's by the creator of Waiting for Spring as well, which is another manga that I was actually reading from the public library, and now I've been using Libby. I'm on book 8 right now, and out of 14, I think, and that one is so good. I love it so much. And this one is just as good. It's so cute. Look at this. I absolutely just, that page in particular kind of just, I was flipping through this after I bought it, and I saw that one, and I'm like, I need to read this right now. And I do intend to read the other 4 that are out. I think it's still releasing. I think this is definitely newer. But yeah, so those are my first 2. These are the taller series, the Fruits Basket and then How I Met My Soulmate. They're both a bit taller. So they go at the very beginning because otherwise they would look weird. But then we'll start going in alphabetical order. Firstly, and this is one that I'm actually very, very excited to continue, and that is Kaiju number 8. I actually kind of have a bit of a story with this series. My mom brought home a bunch of books from our public library that she'd found that she thought I might want to try, and one of them was a side story to Kaiju number 8. So I want to read the original series first. So I got the first book from the library, and I finished that in like not too long, actually. And then after I read that one, I really wanted to read the next ones, but I did not have access to them, and Libby does not have them either. So I have no way to read them. But so then we went to Barnes & Noble a little while after, and I bought the first 3, and I read 2 and 3 the exact same day, pretty much the minute we left Barnes & Noble. And then we have another series, which I'd actually heard about before I started doing manga, which is Komi Can't Communicate. It was a very, very hard anime to follow, and I think it even is if you're just trying to read the screen, especially if you're a dub watcher, which I am because I listen to my shows a lot more than I sit and watch them. So this one was really hard to follow for the anime for me, but I read the first volume, I've read this now, and it was so much easier to follow, and I actually know what's happening, and I do want to read the others. It's not like a priority series to me, and I know I've watched a bunch of the videos since, and they're all like, focus on a couple of series at once, which I am going to start doing now. And now I think I'm going to focus on Kaiju number 8, the next series I'm going to talk about, and then I think probably One Piece, because that's a pretty big series, and I'll talk about that more later. But yeah, so I got Komi Can't Communicate, which this one was pretty good, and I do intend to read the others eventually. For right now, I'm happy just ending with book 1 though, because it's just, I don't know what all the mangas are called, but it's a romance manga, okay? I know that they have a bunch of names for them all that are like different, but I really don't know what all of them mean yet. Okay, give me a break. I'm still learning. But yeah, so I've got this one. And then now we're gonna be talking about my top series, which is the one that started it. Because even though Spy X Family is the reason I first explored anime, I hadn't actually got into an anime manga phase until this series. And the manga phase did not start until I picked up the manga for this series because I was mad I was going through the show so quickly and I'm not ready for it to be done. And I have like 5 episodes before I'm done with it fully, and I'm not ready for the end of this, honestly. But that is My Hero Academia. I would hold up. And there's more. This series, amazing. I love it so much. If you don't know, I haven't been explaining for a lot of these. My bad. I kind of intended to, but you can just deal with my thoughts on them and how I got into them. My Hero Academia, on the other hand, I will tell you what it's about. So basically, we follow the main character, Izuku Midoriya, and he is quirkless in a world where 80% of the population has superpowers that are called quirks, and All Might is his basically like idol, the #1 pro hero. Izuku has always looked up to All Might, and then he meets All Might actually, and it's like this big whole thing. And All Might offers him a chance to maybe possibly get into his dreams hero school, and yeah, we follow Izuku through that, and man, honestly, I love this series. I have nothing more to say except that I love this series with I love it so much. And yeah, we follow a lot of characters, and I will say, while Izuku is the clear main character, the main like 20 characters are all pretty much main characters. We follow specifically 3 of them very closely, and I'd call all 3 of those main character material. Izuku is definitely the main character, but Bakugo and Todoroki are definitely quite close as side main characters. Like, both of them are very major characters, and I absolutely adore that, because if you couldn't tell, that's a Bakugo art that I did. He's my favorite, okay? Honestly, I love him so much. Anyways, I ended up buying these are actually that's a lie. I was gonna say they're the first manga I bought, but they are not, actually. But I did buy the box set, which I wish there was a second one because it would be so much easier. Because I can't get myself to spend that much money, you know, when they're not in a box set. I don't know. Okay, my brain works different. But it feels like I'm spending less money if I buy the giant box set than if I were to just buy the 20 singles. The 21. I have 21 singles that I don't own, because I own all 20, and then, let me put these back. I also own volume 29 because I loved this cover, so I had to buy it. After I watched season 6, not only did I find out what happens in this volume, which if you know, you know, but also the cover was so darn adorable. I had to buy it, so I did. And so now I own 1 through 20 and 29. And originally I did have it displayed, so it wasn't just a like random volume. I used it for display with my figures, but then I changed my setup. And then of course I have this that came with the box set. Yeah, and then I'm gonna talk about my next series, which is over on this other side now, because we're done with that side, because My Hero Academia is actually kind of split up, because they're, like, directly in the middle. So, you know. And then I'm gonna talk about One Piece, which I do have the omnibuses for these, which, again, I know that's one of those things where people go back and forth on whether omnibuses are the best or not. They're floppy. Okay, these are so much easier to read. And I am actually reading the manga that I buy. Like, they're not just sitting on my shelf to look pretty. I'm actually reading all of them. Like I said, so far I have read everything we've talked about. Now we're gonna get into a few that I haven't read, but I've read 90% of my collection, which I'm so happy with, because if I can maintain that, I would be so happy. But anyways, I have the omnibuses because I got this one at Walmart for like $13, and I was like, that's a steal, until I realized that is just the price of omnibuses. But like, I don't really care because I got to read this, and I wasn't intending on reading this. Actually, wait, no, I read the first book. That's right. I read the first book from my public library, found out they had none of the rest of them, so I would have to use the, bigger library system, which takes a lot longer for the books to get there, and even through that, a lot of the books were pretty hard to get your hands on, so I was like, I might need to buy this series, unfortunately. There's like 110 volumes, so yeah, this is gonna be a slow one, because I do not have, even though I'm gonna have a job again, I do not have the money to buy 110 volumes outright. Even if I did the omnibuses, I do not have the money for that. But anyway, I saw this at Walmart then, and I was like, I really want to read books 2 and 3. So I bought this one, and of course this ended on a cliffhanger. So then, that night on Amazon, I bought the next one. So I bought all the way through 15, which I wish I hadn't, because I didn't realize that they had, like, different sections. So, like, this is the East Blue ones, and there's 4 of them. So they'd be the East Blue Saga. And then the next one starts Baroque Works, which I did not know, so I only have one of those. So I now at least have to go through Baroque Works in the omnibuses, or it'll look weird. Anyways, so yeah, I've got through 15 in the omnibuses, and I've read these 3. So I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. So I've read half of them that I have, which I'm happy with. I do need to get around to those 2, and I do really like One Piece, but I got distracted. Then we have one that I actually technically, did I read this? I don't know. I might have read this a really long time ago, because technically this is the first manga I ever owned, but I could not tell you if I read it. So I definitely need to reread it, and that's also why it's in kind of rough shape, because it's the first one I had, and I've had it for a very long time, and that is the first volume in Sailor Moon. I have loved Sailor Moon since I was a kid. I will say, technically, if we're looking at not what I knew was being anime as just, like, overall what anime I was into first, it would have to be Pokemon, first off, because I grew up around Pokemon, okay? I was a Pokemon kid. So yeah, you know, Pokemon. But then it would be Sailor Moon, because I have liked Sailor Moon for a very long time. Although I will say I was a lot more into Crystal than the original. I am trying to get through the original now, and I've watched most of it, I think. But anyways, and I remember I saw this at a garage sale, or maybe it was our public library. I don't know. I do not know where I got this, but I know that I did get it, because clearly I own it. But yeah, it's kind of bent. Because it was definitely not in a good position when I found it. I didn't even remember that I had it. So this is the first manga I owned, and I have not read it yet. I do intend to. It's just not at the top of my list, you know, because I'm not obsessed with Sailor Moon like I used to be, though I do intend to get back into it. But I need to wait for the MHA phase to be over first. But yeah, and then we're gonna go into the next 2, which are the first 2 I bought knowing what anime and manga were, which is Snow White with the Red Hair volumes 1 and 2. Okay, well now I have to buy 1 and 2, because I can't just have book 2. and I need to read it somehow, even though I know what happens, because I will say they changed a few things, so obviously I needed to read it. But yeah, so that's the story of how I ended up with my first manga. And then I collected these. I think I bought My Hero Academia the same night, but I bought it online, so it's different. But yeah, so these are the first manga that I bought. Happy with it because love this series. We have Yona of the Dawn, which this one is another one that my mom got me because, for those of you that don't know, because I don't think I've talked about it yet, my mom made me a year of books for Christmas, so every month I get to open a new book, and she had 2 of them are manga. I've only opened 1 of them, and that was Yona of the Dawn. This was my January pick. I will say it started off kind of odd because she has a crush on her cousin, but again, it's royalty, so like take it with a grain of salt. And then the plot twist hit, and I was kind of invested at that point. I wasn't like overly invested, but then we got this darn plot twist, and I'm like, and so now I've been reading the rest of it. I am on book 8 out of 42 right now, and yeah, that's that. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit about my figures, because why the heck not? And again, if you guys have any advice of like how to get figures, hit me up, because I'm curious, because I don't know this stuff. Alright, so first off, I'm just gonna start somewhere. So first off, I'm gonna start with my Funko Pops. So I have my Lloyd one, which I think this is one of the first ones I had. Absolutely adorable. I love him. And he just kind of chills and holds books up because I don't have another bookend. So I started off with that one. And then we have the way I jumped up and down because I was so excited. I fangirled so hard, and needless to say, I bought him. Same day I bought Snow White with the red hair, actually. Yeah, so that's the whole story, but yeah, so now I have my Todoroki Funko Pop. So these were, I think, actually the first figures that I bought that were anime themed, other than Ponyta. She doesn't really count. I've had her forever. But we bought these little, we were at Best Buy, I can't remember, I think we were getting my mom's computer fixed, but they had blind boxes of Spy X Family, and so I was like, we should buy a few of them. And they had 3 Anya options. So I'm like, okay, let's buy 3, because that way we should hopefully get one that's not Anya. We got all 3 Anyas. They're all different though, so we'll take it. But we got the one where she's sleeping, which this one is so hard to figure out what to do with, because if I'm not leaning her up against something, she looks so weird, but she doesn't stand this direction. So I really don't know what to do with this one, but I usually just kind of lean it against the books like that, but she falls all the time, as you can tell. And then we've got her with her hat in her uniform, and then we've got one where she's just her normal outfit. They're both adorable, and I do really like these figures. They're really cute. Okay, then I'm gonna talk about the next figure. Look at him. It's Lloyd. This was my first figure that wasn't like Funko Pop or like the little ones. This was my first like, you know, actual figure. So I will always love him, and he was a Christmas present, so that makes it even better. Look at him. I love him so much. I just wish the hat was like snapped into place, because it does not. So every time he moves, now of course it's gonna like stay in place, but 90% of the time when he moves, his hat falls off like in 3 seconds, and it is so frustrating. It has fallen behind my bed I don't even know how many times, and then I have to move my entire mattress to get to it. It's so annoying. But he looks really cool, so I don't really care. There's Lloyd. Next, we're gonna talk about the next figure I got, which I actually really like this one. I got Yuji Itadori from JJK. His foot fell off. Okay. Honestly, with how season 2 and 3 were going, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I have not read the manga, so please no spoilers. Thank you. Yeah, I've been binging them recently, and that's all I have to say is but yeah, so we've got Itadori. Ita. Is it Itadori or Itadori? I'm just gonna call him Yuji because I know how to say that. Because now I'm questioning myself of how you pronounce it. But yeah, so I got this at Barnes & Noble. But yeah, I really like this figure. He's like punching you. Punch. And I really like the details. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but the details on his face are like really good. So at Five Below, I got 2 figures. So I got Luffy and then I got Zoro or Zolo. I don't know. They're different. In the manga it's Zolo. In the anime it's Zoro. I don't know. So we've got Zoro and Luffy. And then at Target I got the Merry-Go. So their little ship. And it also came with the like mini pop figures of Luffy. Because they're like removable and you can put him in the ship, but he's kind of hard to see in the ship. First off, we're gonna start with the mini that I don't like. These I got all at Target. They were these little blind bags and I was like, I will take anyone but Shigaraki and Toga. Especially Toga. First one I got was Toga. I'm so sorry to all the Toga fans out there. I really can't stand her. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people really like her. She's just not my cup of tea, okay? Also, I'm not a huge fan of this specific figure because I don't know if it's just that her legs got bent or what, but she does not stay in her stand whatsoever, and then she always falls over, and it's like, girl, if you just stay in your stand, maybe you wouldn't fall over, but you know, she's probably all like, freedom, I do what I want. I'm so sorry. That was not meant to be mean. That was fully a joke. Okay. And then immediately after her, I got Shigaraki. Awesome, right? Actually, I'm not that mad about it though, because this figure is actually pretty cool. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I will take this. Even though I don't really care for Shigaraki that much. And then I did get one of the 2 characters I really wanted, because I really wanted Aizawa or Izuku, and I did get Mr. Aizawa. And this figure is so cool. I love it. I set them up like they're fighting. Because they're like perfectly built for that. So yeah. And then we're gonna talk about my 2 favorites. I'm gonna start with my older one. So then we have my Izuku Midoriya figure. Look at him! I love this figure so much. It is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite figure. It's probably my favorite figure that I have. Just because, like, he looks so cool. Like, he's jumping, and then, like, it's such a good quality, too. I just really like this figure, and, like, he looks so awesome. I mean, he always does, but yeah, so that's my Deku figure. We have my most recent figure, and this is probably my favorite, no, not just probably, is Inumaki, though. Nah, he's still my favorite JJK character, and that is Satoru Gojo. I can't say his first name. I type his first name. I can't say it, though. I mean, I kind of can, but I don't know that I'm saying it right. So I'm just gonna call him Gojo, because I know how to say that. 100%. But yeah, he's doing, I think, Hollow Purple? I think. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but I am pretty sure that that's Hollow Purple, which means everyone over here is dead. Yuji, what did you do? I actually think they kind of did him justice on this figure, which is impressive. But I do want to mention really quickly my Zoro poster, my JJK. I just remembered who March's Nobara is. That's mean. For those of you that don't know, my birthday's in March, and it's Nobara. If you know, you know. I can't. And then we've got my MHA poster, from the box set. Oh, and then I do have a little Frankie keychain that I got a really long time ago, too. And then up above, we have my Spy X Family t-shirt, which I do wear. But yeah. And then you can't really see it, and I'm not going to zoom in on it because spoilers, but I've got my Bakugo and Izuku art because if you know what scene that is. But yeah, that's my collection. Yeah, so if you've got any tips for good manga that I should keep an eye out to read, otherwise any tips for having a collection, again, figure buying tips, just anything, you know, want to tell me what you've got in your collection, go ahead. If you want to show it off, like if you've got your own YouTube channel and you show it off in a video, tag me because I want to see it. Or if you do like a community post, tag me because I want to see it. Because I could use the inspiration because my shelf is kind of boring right now. But anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!